So in this video we're going to talk about how university life in the UK is different from life in the school. To start with, what stands out is obviously the workload itself. So when you get into university, you will find that the workload is much heavier than what you had in school, but the content itself is also much more varied. For myself, Cambridge was obviously intense. I didn't have much of a weekend to rest, and I was generally spending about twice as much time studying compared to when I was in school. The teaching was predominantly done through the form of lecturing, where one professor lectures a large group, say maybe the whole year of 100 students. And that is complemented by small group teaching, where you get more of a personal involvement in that and you have a chance to ask questions, for example. And because the course content tend to be more varied and complex, your academic tasks tend to be given for example, due in a week's time or 2 weeks' time, rather than, when you're in school, you might have a daily homework of, handing in this tomorrow, that kind of thing. And in university education, a much higher level of independence will be expected. So what that means is you've really got to manage your own study. There will be some personal academic support from academic staff members from the university, but it's much less than the level of support you get when you're in school. And for this reason, I'd really recommend developing a habit of time management, making sure you're on top of all the deadlines, knowing exactly what you want to do for today or tomorrow, plan your academic and your social activities in advance. That will help you greatly when you get into university. And your department in university will generally assume that your English ability is adequate to cope with what's required from the course. However, should you need any special assistance on the English language, for example, you're really struggling to write essays on topics that you haven't touched on before, then I'd really recommend bringing that up to your department as early as possible to see what they can do to support you. But fingers crossed, by the time you get to university, you'll be having excellent English skills to cope with university work. On the social side, because of the high level of independence and flexibility in time, you will actually hardly ever find yourself in exactly the same time schedule as anyone else. So you've really got to be making sure that you are making friends and that you have someone to talk to and that can rely on. Fortunately, being in university, you will find that the student background tends to be much more diversified than school, meaning that you have the chance to meet and get to know people from all sorts of background, all over the world really. I really enjoyed meeting people from a culture that's completely different to mine. Unfortunately, what you will find is that even though there are many more clubs and societies that you can join in university, you will generally have much less time to do them compared to school. My tip for you would be try and do as many as possible in first year. Try and join new societies and clubs that you've never tried before or even never thought that they would exist. Personally, the exam results for my first year didn't count towards my degree at all. That's obviously not saying it will be the same for you, and obviously not saying you should party every day and fail your exams. But please do make sure you have a balance of work and social life, because you will need friends, you will need physical and social activities that will be important to both the physical health and the mental health.